Today we're going to be designing this professional looking logo with our smartphone on Pixellab. Let's jump right in. So firstly, I'm going to change in this design to a default design so I can start everything from scratch. So if you observe closely, over here we have this. Click the default. I'm going to change the sizing. So for the logo, we're going to use any size, any image size. So to change the sizing, I'm going to come over to this three dots over here. So we're going to click over to image size, right? So we can choose from our preset over here, or we can use a default size over here. So for our logo, I'm going to use a width of 1280. It's okay. So I can also change my height to 720. I use this measurement because of it's a logo and it's okay for a logo. Surely a logo we need for a client, are going to have to print it out and put it on different brands, right? So we're going to click OK over here. So this is our design. So next we're going to clear this text. We don't need it, so click on the text and click the delete button over here. So the first we're going to do now, we're going to have to write our text, each of them. So go over to this A button over here. So you watch my tab closely. So we're going to click the text over here. So that's how we add our text. You can add your text from here, or you can also add your text from here, right? So we're going to edit our text. So let's edit our text. So the first thing that I want to put in my text, I can put this, right? Okay, that should increase the size a little bit, right? So we can see what we are doing over here. So we're going to use this. Okay, so we have y here. So we're going to have to change the font. So the font we're using, so the font basically is the logo. It has the beauty to this logo. So we're going to go over here to this font. So where you see fonts, these fonts follows Pixellab, but my fonts, these are fonts that I downloaded. So I'm going to drop the link in the description box on where you can download this font from, so you can join me. So we're going to use this font called American Crostani, right? So there are lots of different types. So I'm using American Crostani Expand. So I'm going to click OK. So that is it over there. So you can see the font full size didn't come out, so we're going to increase the padding a little bit of this font. So go over to padding. So I think is the right padding, right? Okay, so that is it. So we will use the left padding to -14, so you can position in the middle. That's it over there. Nice. So after that, we're going to need another one text. So that is y over there. You can duplicate this, so you come over here and you see copy sign over here. You're going to click copy. You get this also over here. So we're going to edit this. So edit and put any text of your choice that you want there. So we're going to put O, but you see how the O looks. So we'll have to rotate this. So we go over to this part called 3D rotate. I'll scroll down a little bit. Don't see this called 3D rotate. Note I'm in the image section, right? And 3D rotate. To click 3D rotate. So we're going to rotate the y axis to 180, right? We rotate the y axis to 180. Nice and good. So rotate the y axis to 180. So that is okay. So we can also try if we want to. We can also edit this into capital letter. Okay, so ready. So this y and this O. So we have to use our grid to check their position. So you click over here to observe your position. If this stuff is confusing, I'm going to teach how to use in the previous video, so I'm going to just remove it presently if it's confusing. But right now, basically what I need this grid for is to make sure the y and the O are in the same position. So I'm just going to move it a little bit over here. Okay, this okay over here. So we're also going to copy. We're going to click the Y. We're going to copy this. Okay, I'm also going to copy this. What copy means, right? We're just duplicating the previous text we're using, so we don't have to go over and keep on changing the font. So just going to use this text for now. So we have this over here also, nice and cool, right? So it's positioned very well. So we're also going to copy this. So we click on the text to copy and hit copy. So it's going to copy. We're going to come over here and we're going to edit this to how. So it depends on your choice whether you want to change the font to. Also, because of the O, if you observe, we want to change the position of the wings, so we won't have to rotate the arrow to the other side. So go over to 3D rotate, then rotate the x-axis to 180 degree. Nice and good. We're going to try our best to position it in at the same point you position the O. So you go over to position, right? So you try moving it a bit. So you can see I'm moving this by 1 pixel, so you can move it by 8, 10, 7 pixel. What does it means that if you're moving this by 11 pixel, it means it's going to move pretty much faster, right? So if you're moving this by 1 pixel, it's going to move in slower. So that's what it means. So this grid is used to mark and check if your designs are in the same level. For example, if you hit this setting right now, so I can mark it with these tools over here. So I'm over and over one. So you can see the arrow and Y are almost in the same position, and the Y and O, the arrow and U are in the same position, but the Y and O are not in the same position. So that's a problem. As you can see, I'm hovering over the Y and O right now, and the O is not in the same position as the Y. So that I use the grid to check. So since that's how it is, we'll have to move the O so that they'll be in the same position. So you try your best to move the O a little bit upward. Okay, so you try your best to be in the same position, then you can off it. So that is it now. So also we want to check if you position them also like this. So we observe the R and O are not in the same position. So also is the Y and U, but that is okay because of some of this design are italicized, means they're slanting. So also you can also decide to move this a little bit forward, the O. So position this a little bit forward. Right, I move this a little bit forward. Okay, that's okay. So the next thing we want to do, we want to add a texture to each of this design. So we'll start with this. We're adding a texture to this. So you go over and you click texture, right? When you click this image section over here, right? So I should show you this with, so you click this button over here, right? So I'm clicking the texture. I'm going to choose the texture we need. Now all these images right here, if you need them, they're going to be in the description section, so you can download them and use on your projects if you want to. So I'm going to use this over here. This is a very popular image, it has been used a lot on YouTube, so you can also just get the image from my link or from other links and just use it on your project. So you see it. So I'm going to scale this to 205. That means that is the full scale. That is texture. So you can also maintain ratio if you want to, if you want it to look exactly how it is, but if you don't want to, you can off that. So I don't need it. So I'm also going to add a texture to the other one. So you're going to do the same thing with pretty much all of them. So I'm going to go back to my photos, images. So I'm going to add my style of texture to that. So what we're trying to do is to make sure the texture in the left hand side are the same, but the textures in the right hand side are also the same. but it should be different, right? So the O, we should give it a different texture. Go over to photos, images. So I'm going to use the silver board over here. Okay, so I'm going to scale this right to 205%, that which is the highest quality. So we'll use the arrow also. So I'm going to use same texture with a slight difference. We're going to use this texture over here. Right, so we're going to scale this also. Right. So sorry about the noises. So this. So let me pause. Wait. So we can continue right now. So we're gonna give this our designs a stroke. So we'll start with the O. We'll just give it a stroke if you want to. Enable a stroke or a outline makes our work more realistic. So we can give each of them a stroke. So we're gonna give it a stroke of black. Right, so black is okay. So over here you can increase the stroke width. So you see the stroke width is 4. So the more you increase the stroke width, the more the outline. So the stroke width of 4 is okay, because too much of stroke in a design spoils the design, right? So we're gonna move on to the other test, which is arrow. I'm gonna give it a stroke to make our design look more realistic. So the stroking and that tool which I'm going to be using in this tutorial is very important in making your designs realistic. So we give all the text a stroke with a width of 4. Right, so you see our designs begin to come to life. Okay, so all of them have a black stroke with a width of 4. So this, okay, nice. So that's what you want to do. You can save your design right now, and just you can go over to this section over here. Watch my tabs please, and you can just remove the background by clicking this transparent, right, and you can save your design, or we can continue. So we're going to continue the design based on what I show in the front screen before we begin. Right now we're going to be adding a shape to this. So to add a shape, let me show you that again. You go over to the image section. Please take note of this. I'm going to make this resize this. So you see the image section, right? So go over there. Now I've left this text section. We're in the image section. So go over to shapes, right? So this is shape. We need a shape, okay? That should be long enough. Okay, the length is okay. So we need a shape. Okay, so you're gonna have to also position the shape. So I'm gonna use move by 9 pixel. You're gonna have to position the shape. So you see the shape is too big. So while I'm working on the shape, other designs or other tests are being affected. So we're gonna have to lock that. Sorry about the noise. We're gonna have to lock that. So we'll go over to the arrow. Now what we are doing over here is that we are somehow locking the other tests, so our main design we're doing presently won't be affected. So we are in this shape right now. So we're gonna have to edit the shape again because the size seems a little big. So we edit it. Okay, nice and fine. We have to position that also. Okay, So we're gonna have to shift this a little bit to the left. Okay, so we have to also add a text to this. So go over to text, edit. So we're going to add a text over here, logo, right? So we're going to click OK. So which font are we going to use for that? We're going to use a font which you can find your font in Pixellab over here. So we're going to use a font called Vigo. So we should move that. So let's pause. So the noise in my location is just too much. That's why I have to pause because of the noises. So we'll continue from our logo, which we're trying to add. So we're going to add the logo. So we should give the logo a color. From present, we can give our logo a color of black, so we can see it when we're adding it to the white text. We're going to go over to position. Right, so we're going to position this over here. So our shape has a little bit of a problem. We have to adjust the shape. So we're going to come over to shape, edit shape. So this. So we want to like make it a square in the middle. So we want to also increase the radius of the side. Okay, that is okay there. You're gonna have to try your best. So we have to position this now in the middle. So try your best to make this look small enough so that it can fit in the middle. So we can move this to the front or to the back. As we pleased. So what we're going to be doing over here, we're going to be giving the image a texture. We're going to go out to photos, image, giving the texture, right? So the texture is okay, so I'm giving the texture of silver. Then the text, we're going to be giving the text, so we'll come over to the A button to edit the text. We're going to give the text a texture of our golden board. So this is it over here. So what we're going to be doing now, we have to merge everything together before giving it image. So come over here, right? So we're going to click that. So we're going to also click this button over here. So I'm going to click everything now. I'm going to merge in them. So click this mesh tool over here. The mesh tool is over there. So we mesh that. So I've meshed that into one. So the next tool we want to be doing now, we want to come over to our 3D shape, so we can make them look more realistic over here like this. So we enable 3D shape. So I'm using a depth of 13. You can increase or decrease your depth. So also you can darken this. So I'm going to leave this in the default setting. So the last tool we want to also do, we'll come back to emboss now. Embossing the second tool that makes our design more realistic, right? So we can emboss it. But the most important part, we're going to reduce our bevel. So 547 is okay. Then we can increase our specular hardness, our lightning and intensity. Now this will make our design more realistic. So let's give it a background. Done with that. So choose our background from gallery, over to photos. We'll go to images. So the link to download this particular background, if you haven't got one, you can see it in the description box. So here we are, guys. So it begins to look a dot like what we wanted to start with. So this is what we are trying to create. So this is just a simple professional looking logo that we've made using realistic with just stroke and using our emboss tool on Pixellab with our smartphone. And we can also use this tool to create different other logos, right? This with this simple tool. So that is it for now. We can also go ahead and play around with your logo. You can add a vignette. So this vignette, what it basically does, it darkens some areas, right? So you can add a vignette if you want to. So you can also increase or decrease the contrast, right? You can also do that if you want to. That is based on you. So you can increase the contrast. So this is what we are having now. You can play around with this. So we want to save this now. It's the last part. So we're going to click save, this button over here. So let me bring, okay, that is the button. So click that. I'm going to click save as image. Or if you want to work on this later on, you can save it as a project. So we're going to click save as image. Then dimensions, we're going to be clicking ultra. So ultra meaning the quality should be the same when it's printed out. So even if your logo is being used on a bag, on a shop, it's not going to get blur. So the quality matters for the dimensions. We're going to click the button save to gallery after we're done. So that is just everything. If after image has been saved to gallery, you see it appear in your gallery, so you can take it from there and send to the client. So also you can also configure your logo to different sizes. So if your client is asking you need a Facebook logo and he needs a Instagram logos, and the client also asks that he needs a YouTube channel banner logo. So the thing is, you have to configure it, and lucky enough, Pixellab has a default tool to choose different sizes for you. So before you start a project, make sure you change your image size based on what you want to do. So a lot of people, customers, when they ask to design a logo, they will need it in different sizes. So you're gonna have to know how to change your logo size. So after you're done with this, you can go back and change the size into another size.